I'm putting my hedge fund manager hat on, which isn't a good, I don't feel good saying it. On the technical side, I think it looks slightly negative. I feel the charts look like they could break down. And if they do, we're going to be testing 50 and maybe 44, 46,000. I hope not. With the CPI number, which was slightly weaker, it had a good bounce up to 65,200. And it's drifted a bit now because we're at a big technical resistance level. 65, 66 is quite a hard level to just go back through. It started to consolidate around there, but we're stuck in this range. But if we can hold it and start to base and go up, then I think we're going to be heading back. If not, then I hate saying it, there could be a breakdown to the mid 40s, but let's see.
Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Roy Kashi. He is the co-founder and CEO of Falcon Edge PLC. Roy brings a powerhouse background from traditional asset management with senior roles at Brabant Howard, Henderson Global Investors, and experience across long, short equities, commodities, and digital assets to a bold new venture. Falcon Edge is pioneer a new model, a listed hedge fund advisory and services platform that helps funds scale operationally, strategically, and reputationally while powering Bitcoin treasury yield strategies that deliver returns to shareholders without dilution. Today, we will explore Roy's journey from hedge fund portfolio manager to building a Bitcoin native advisory powerhouse, the evolving intersection of traditional finance and digital assets, how Falcon generates real Bitcoin yield in volatile markets, the challenges of building credibility in an alternative investments, and what the future holds for Bitcoin treasuries, list advisory firms, and institutional adoption. Roy, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. We are almost at the time of England against Argentina, an amazing game. When I think that when I upload this to YouTube, the game will gonna be decided. I hope this is an amazing game and a good game for everyone.
I wanted to go to penalties again. I wanted to go to penalties.
No, please, no. Please. I said the other day, I don't want to suffer anymore. If we have to lose, please lose fast. If we have to win, please win fast. But no suffering anymore. But being Argentinian, if we don't suffer, it's not Argentina. So it is what it is. But let's see. I hope it's a good game. And
good luck.
My cousin,
may the best team win.
The best team win. My cousin is there in the stadium. So let's see if he send me pictures and everything. So, but anyways, we are not here to talk about football. We are here to talk about Bitcoin and treasury companies. So the first question, Roy, is how were you orange pilled?
Well, I've actually been coming with the background of trading and investing. I've been investing and trading and looking at Bitcoin for a while now. I wouldn't ever say I'm a traditional Bitcoin maxi like a lot of people would like to say, but it's something I've invested in and followed for a long time. And when we founded Falcon Edge, we spun it off from our sister company, Falcon Investment Management, which has been going for over 12 years. And over half the assets under management have and still are in crypto, in particular in Bitcoin. We had the first regulated crypto fund in the UK in 2018. So the natural progression when we founded Falcon Edge and spun it off and listed it was to have the Bitcoin angle to it, because we believe in Bitcoin. We want to put all our assets in Bitcoin, and we feel in the next few years it's going to be the most dominant underlying asset in the world. So that's where we want to put our assets and our belief in. And the other part of the business was, if we're going to be in that, we don't want to just have it sitting there static. Let's use our strength. Let's use our USP to actually make it work for us and actually let it grow, which is where the whole difference in strategy came about when we decided to IPO.
Excellent. And you've worked across equities, commodities, and now digital assets. What key lessons from traditional markets have proven most valuable in the crypto space, and vice versa?
That's a good question. I often get asked, and to give my opinions on where I see the markets and what's happening. Just the other day I was speaking to Forbes about this. It's you have to actually be able to understand that there's two ways to look at that. I think you look at Bitcoin, crypto in general, but Bitcoin. You're either trading it or you're holding as a long-term asset. You don't want to get caught in between. And obviously we are the latter. We're holding it as a long-term asset. We're not going to sell it. We're not going to touch it. We're going to let it grow and keep getting as much as we can on the balance sheet as fast as we can. But my advice from being a trader and a portfolio manager and being in the financial markets for over 25 years, that feels too long, is you have to understand what you're in an asset for. Do you believe in it for the long term, or are you there to trade it? And it's okay if you're there to trade it, but understand that's what you're doing. You're trading it. You're not, don't get caught in between. And that's why I think a lot of people lose so much money in trading Bitcoin and trading crypto. They don't understand which way they are. They're either trading it and they're getting caught, or they're thinking, oh no, actually I'm hodling it for the long term, but they weren't in it for them. They don't fully understand it, which means they don't have the conviction to hold it during times like this.
What do you think that that a person or an investment firm has to, what key things needs to have to hold for the long term, or if they go for trading? Because you said you need to understand what you want. One, what do you need to take in consideration to trade, and what do you need to take in consideration to hold?
If you're going to hold it for the long term and you actually think I'm in this and I'm not touching it, I'm not selling my Bitcoin, I'm holding it for the next 5-10 years, understand why you're holding it for the next 5-10 years. Because if you don't have that belief and conviction, you'll end up selling at the wrong levels. You'll see it fall 50% like we've seen in the last 7 months, and you'll be in a position where you say, I just can't take it anymore. I've lost half my money. I've taken leverage. I've got margin against it. I'm actually down 70-80% with margin and leverage. I don't know what to do. And then you end up selling at 57, 58, 60,000 when actually, and then you start to see it go back up again, and you're out of it and you've been tops and tails. And I think that's the biggest issue people have, not understanding why they're in something and understanding their time horizon when they're in something. And if you're going to trade it, it's a different story. You don't have to necessarily understand the product that well. You just have to understand how the volatility and how it trades. And that's a whole different ballgame.
And what do you think? Why do you think that people, and especially, and not the retail people, the people who are more experienced into finance, into trading, don't understand Bitcoin? What is the thing that they don't understand?
They don't understand that it's like nothing we've ever seen before. They can't get their head around the store of value when they can't actually hold it, physically see it. They can't understand the fact that there is only going to be 21 million. It's decentralized. They just can't get their head around it. They say, "Oh, it's just a Ponzi scheme. Oh, it's just a digital." And I speak to so many people about this, and I'm not going to lie. At the beginning, I had the same things before I fully understand it. I had the same viewpoint. It's when something is new, it takes a long time for people to actually fully understand that it's different and that it can take time. It doesn't mean just because it's new, it's not better. And we have the same thing on Falcon Edge, actually, with what we're doing. It's taking time for people to understand about the yield and what we're trying to do. And at the beginning, during the IPO process, we had the same thing. We were trying to convey we're actually going to be getting a yield on our Bitcoin, and we're aiming for, you know, double-digit returns. And people are like, well, that can't happen. How are you going to do that? No, that doesn't sound right. People don't, because most people on their Bitcoin with the on-chain stuff are getting 3% a year. And if it's not covered call strategy, which everyone understands, or if it's not DeFi, people say, well, how are you going to do this? And we're explaining it, and we're trying to allow and really break it down that this is how we will do it. And now it's been 7 months of getting that yield, and people are starting to, well, actually, the proof is there. We've got over 9% in 7 months. And so it takes time for people's psyche to change and to really come around to understanding that something can be different, but it doesn't mean it's not better.
Yeah, different. In fact, we see that all the industry of the treasuries, and especially the institutional capital coming to Bitcoin, is quite new. So this is something that, of course, the investors don't understand yet. And what can we do from the Bitcoin space? Because there is a huge division in the Bitcoin world. You have the people who only wants to teach and educate on the self-custody and Bitcoin, and there are other people like me that we want to explain to everyone who Bitcoin is another asset and can be used institutionally to grow. What can we do to teach people and investors about the behavior of Bitcoin?
I think it's more just it takes time for credibility to feed through, and it is happening. If you look at where we were now from where we were 2 years ago with IBIT, with Morgan Stanley's ETFs, you are seeing institutions coming around. You are seeing hedge funds embrace it. On the hedge fund side here, we see more and more crypto funds, starting to see more crypto funds than we see traditional finance funds. Every kind of conversation we have an emerging manager seems to be a new crypto fund, which is great to see. Now they don't have the same asset class scale in terms of assets under management. They tend to be a lot smaller because again, it's seen as a more volatile asset. So you don't tend to get the same assets under management, but you are seeing that adoption happening. I think you've just got to keep explaining it, keep teaching people, keep making them understand it, and be patient. The amount of times I've tried to explain it to my friends or my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and they come to, what about Bitcoin? And you're trying to explain it and you're trying to educate them, and they're like, well, I don't get it. I'm sorry. If I can't see it, I'd rather have gold. But then they see it go up. They say, should I buy some Bitcoin? When it goes down, they say, oh, I told you so. And that's and that's just the how it works. And you just have to keep understanding that this will take time. It's still, I mean,
Yeah, I think that
when
most
it's still only been about 15 years since Bitcoin's been around compared to other assets, and it's probably really been about 7 or 8 till it's been a real mature asset, and the last 3 or 4 years till it's been
yes.
2, 3 years till it's become institutionalized in the ETF space and other. So it is moving quite quickly.
Yes, and also I think that most of the questions come when Bitcoin is going up and people can, oh, what is happening? And some of them, it happened with my friends. Some friends entered to Bitcoin last year when Bitcoin was going up. And now they are asking me every week, what is going on? What should I do? Should I buy more? Should I sell?
Should I
What
sell
is
it?
happening? When is it going to
Is it
go up?
going to
And these
zero?
are
Is
the
it going to
questions.
I've never seen in my
These are
whole
the
time an asset where if it goes up, it's the best in the world. If it goes down, it's going to zero and it's the worst asset in the world. And that's because people don't understand it. It comes back to my earlier point.
yes.
If something's in it for long, you've got to understand it to be able to hold it for the long term. Otherwise, don't be in it. It's not for you.
Yes, of course. Of course. But I recommend people when they want to come to Bitcoin, they say, first, I need to study and then I will buy. I say, no, you should buy. You should put a little bit of skin in the game and then you will start studying
Mm,
and understanding more what's going
mm.
on with Bitcoin. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's as long as you're comfortable with what you're buying before you understand it. But I think you have to do the work and you have to really understand what you're holding to be comfortable to sit through the bad times, to sit through the pain, which is kind of what a lot of people are having to do at the moment since middle of last year. So, essentially we're in a Bitcoin bear market and that happens. You just have to understand what you're holding to be able to be able to sit comfortably through that pain. So when things do turn and go back
Yes.
up, you're still in it and you haven't sold it at the wrong levels.
Yes, totally agree on that. I'm talking about the bear market, the strategy, and Falcon Edge. Falcon Edge has been generating consistent Bitcoin yield even in these downturns without
Yeah,
diluting shareholders. How does your strategy work at high level? And what makes
sure.
it different from other Bitcoin treasury plays?
Yeah. So on a high level, I can't go too much into detail about how we actually get the
Of
yield as it's a
course, yes.
regulated product. But on a high level, we have our sister company, Falcon Investment Management, has a fund which has been going for close to 6 years with an impeccable track record. That always makes money. Never had a down month. So what we did, we created a Bitcoin share class specifically to put Bitcoin in there, that will mirror the performance. And actually, it's better than the underlying performance at the moment. And that will actually enable us to put our Bitcoin into the fund without having to convert. There's no selling of Bitcoin into fiat, then converting it back. It just stays in Bitcoin the whole time, gets the yield in Bitcoin, and then it stays in the fund and it compounds, and more is being invested every month, organically. And so that's exactly what we do. And we started that a month after we IPO'd last year. So in December last year, we've made money every single month, and it's made 9.25% compounded return in 7 months. So we're aiming, hopefully, we can't give numbers, but because you don't know the future, but we're aiming for, I'd like to think we can get to above 10% by, over a 12-month period. We're only a few basis points away from there. So it's doing very well. And that's how we're different, to your other point.
And it
Every treasury I've said this before. I mean, every treasury company has their own way of growing assets and growing Bitcoin, and we fully respect everyone's way of doing it, and that's the right way to be. We come from a different, and maybe that's my background, a different viewpoint, that I feel the company has to be making revenues and profits, and from their operating business to be able to sustain trickier periods. Like we're seeing now. So for us, the operating business is getting the yield, and also the hedge fund advisory side as well. And that's doing well. So we have some funds that we advise, which brings in revenues, but at the same time, we're also making revenues on our Bitcoin. So that's I think where we're different. And it's also, I don't think there are any other treasury companies that are able to get that level of yield on their Bitcoin balance sheet that we're doing. So, and we're very open to, because we created that Bitcoin share class, we're happy to, have that and speak to other companies or individual holders of Bitcoin to get them a yield as well. That's also something that we can do, because I think everyone at the moment it's become the word, we need yield on our Bitcoin. We have this amazing asset that sits there not making any returns for you. It just seems like a crazy notion to me. You wouldn't put all your assets in a current account in a bank and not have any return. So why would you do the same with Bitcoin? As long as it's still in your custody, still in your name and your ownership, and it's in safe custody, then that's something that we can offer, and something we're doing. So it's been good.
And what is the best way for companies and funds like yours to capture the money that is going through the bank account that doesn't generate any yield, and bring to the operation and being able to generate more yield for the people?
Yeah, well, firstly, you've got to make it clear we're not a fund. We're a PLC,
Okay.
so we're not a fund. Yeah, we don't actually do any we use our regulator company to do that. But yeah, in terms of how do we capture it, so it's ongoing conversations we have to people. Raising the profile of Falcon Edge, which helps. We have Zinx on board as a strategic advisor now as well. It's been a few months, which has been great. He's been a real asset to the team. So it's just raising the awareness of the company and letting people understand that if you want to get a yield on your Bitcoin and you want it to grow, we're there and we're able to help you do that. And I think that every month that we show that we're getting a yield, I think is more proof of that. And that's something we're able to do and very proud of. And I think, as I say, our track record, our proof of work is going to increase on a month by month basis. So I can actually show you the analytics page we have here, if you want me to share that. Here. So this is our
Excellent.
analytics page. Yeah. So you can see that was the initial purchase after the IPO, and this has been the yield month on month that we've made every month, and you can see it here as on the bar chart. So that's been our monthly yield that we've made So at the moment, it's 9.38% since inception. It's over 7 months. And that's what it is in Bitcoin without any dilution. And that's what it is in fiat into the company. And this is obviously our cumulative yield versus the Bitcoin share price, and versus our Bitcoin shareholdings. So, and this is what we've made every single month. And what's until the last month? This is the latest month, 1.98% we made last month. So what's very interesting is it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. So it's completely uncorrelated to Bitcoin. Bitcoin could halve from here, and we would still generate this yield. So that's the important thing to note. So anyone or anything that our assets aren't going to, our yield isn't predicated on Bitcoin share price, which is very important.
Excellent. And you, when you show me that you made the first purchase, you only did this purchase, or you are still buying Bitcoin constantly like the other companies?
This every single month, this is us using the returns, and we're getting extra Bitcoin. We haven't done any big purchases since IPO, because we haven't done any capital raises or dilution. That doesn't mean to say we won't be doing anything of the sort, but obviously with the market conditions, it's not been very easy, and we haven't put the ATM in place. I mean, I don't think the liquidity has really been there, if I'm going to be honest with you, to have something like that. We want to make sure our shareholders aren't being diluted or suppressed, having the share price suppressed. We're trading around issue price, which is good, very given the state of what the treasury stocks have done over the last 7 months. We're very proud of that, and we're working on other areas where we can get more Bitcoin in a more creative way. It can't solicit too much, but yeah, we've got a structured product note we're working on that will give an annual return, paid fixed coupon, paid quarterly with a Bitcoin kicker. So if Bitcoin performs, you can get an extra few percent, but if Bitcoin goes down, you're fully protected. And that's something we're happy to talk to people about. And that will put Bitcoin directly on the balance sheet. There are things we're working on that hopefully will come into fruition.
Can you walk us through this new instrument, or you cannot talk too much about that?
Can't too much about it, but it's something, if people want to get in touch, I'm happy to have the conversation with them. So yeah, effectively it's like a bond where you will get a fixed return every year over the term of the bond with your capital fully protected, no conversion, and you get a coupon paid quarterly, which will be close to double digits. And if Bitcoin hits certain milestones within within every year within the term, you'll get an extra percentage on the Bitcoin as a Bitcoin kicker. But if Bitcoin were to go down, you're fully protected. You just get your fixed coupon and your capital back. So it's pretty unique.
Well, this is great, and this is amazing because, again, I love this kind of instruments that these kind of companies are creating, because it brings people to the Bitcoin space that would never gone into Bitcoin without this kind of instrument. That are easy for people to come and get exposure to Bitcoin. Otherwise, these people wouldn't have invested in Bitcoin related stuff. And I think that this is the way that we create the hyper Bitcoinization, by creating instruments backed with Bitcoin for everyday users. So people don't have to think about self-custody and all this stuff.
100%. And this is where the traditional finance side comes in. So you've seen, I think, with Metaplanet the last few days, they've announced they're going to have a suite of different bonds, as well as the potential preferreds, which, and I think they think along similar lines to us with their financial TradFi background as well. you have to bring that side to it. You've seen it with strategy and strive with the preferreds. But until you can get to that level, you've got to come up with other instruments that you feel can grow the company for shareholders and the Bitcoin per share, which is ultimately what we're looking to do.
Yes, and many companies are adopting Bitcoin as treasury asset. What advice would you give corporates or funds considering this, and what risks should they watch out for?
Sure. I think several things. The first one is have a strategic plan on your company. Don't jump on the bandwagon and just say, oh, I've seen these companies go up 30, 40 times last year. I'm just going to say I'm a Bitcoin treasury company and hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet and hope to get some of that. Those days are gone. I think they were gone a long time ago. Have a strategy for your company. Understand why you're different. Why are you doing this? Secondly, have the right team in place, list on the right markets, make sure you have the right shareholder structure, rather than just taking any capital. You need to take good capital. The right kind of shareholders are going to back you the whole way. And yeah, I mean, but I think the main thing would really be to understand what your company actually is. Have you, do you have a company, or are you just simply just, listing it to get the share price upside and sell shares and dilute and then raise more capital and just jump on that? Because I think those days are gone. You have to have a proper company with a real direction and understanding of what you're doing and what you want to do.
Yeah, and also I think that you need to understand.
Believe in Bitcoin. You have to really
Yes,
believe in
of
Bitcoin.
course. Of course. That's I think this is the first thing that I look when I want to invest in a treasury company. When I want to buy the shares that the the, the management team believes really in Bitcoin. Otherwise, it's not. And also, I think that you need to understand what the market, the jurisdiction where you are operating, what do they need? For example, I was talking with the people from Africa Bitcoin Corporation that they are using Bitcoin to give to give loans to the small business owners, and with the earnings from there buy more Bitcoin. I think that in each country you can do different things, and you need to understand what are the needs for the country.
Yes, absolutely. Um, and exactly. So you look at Metaplanet; they've got a big advantage that it's 0% rates there, so everyone is starved for yield. So they probably don't have to offer the same kind of level of yield that Strategy and Strive would have to do in the US. African Bitcoin, like you say, they're able to loan at 18, 20% to small SMEs in South Africa. And their aim is to try and borrow at much lower rates and get the delta between the two of those. So each country has its different advantages and disadvantages. Again, that comes back to my earlier point of understanding your company, understanding how you're different, and understand where your edge is going to be. Are you simply just going to jump on the bandwagon and become a treasury company, or are you actually going to offer something different because you've got an edge and you're doing something different? And why Bitcoin? Do you genuinely believe in it, that it's an asset to hold over the next 10 years? We do. I don't think a lot of the companies probably necessarily do, but that's just my personal opinion. And I think that ends up playing out if some start to change their tactics, when times probably do get a little bit trickier.
Totally agree on that. And how do you think about risk management when it comes to Bitcoin holdings and yield generation?
I mean, when it's risk, if you're a treasury company, risk management is very much, well, I think you're not trading it, you're holding it for the long term. So as long as you have it in, you're comfortable in the custody that you have it in, and you have to have a tier one custodian. If it's self custody, again, it's probably even safer. Just make sure you keep it safe, because that is the asset of your company. It's probably the most important thing. In terms of risk, yeah, again, if you're looking to get a yield on your Bitcoin and you're giving it to third parties, really understand who you're giving it to, why you're doing it, and what the method of getting the yield is. If you're going for cover call strategies, if you're going for DeFi, understand the risks of doing that because they can be risky. Ultimately, you're taking market risk. If you're giving it to a third party that is maybe not as credible, be very careful. Understand their background and do your homework, and understand which custody they use, which custodian they're using. Is it tier one? Is it So there's a lot of things you have to be very careful about when you're looking at getting a yield on your Bitcoin, and you're not able to do it internally.
Yes, totally agree on that. And where do you see the intersection of traditional funds and digital asset heading in the next 3 or 5 years?
I think you're going to see more and more growth in the Bitcoin. Well, I think Bitcoin in particularly, other crypto assets too, but primarily it's going to be Bitcoin. I think they're all going to have either a good proportion of portfolio managers within their funds, um, crypto books, crypto pods, or they're going to have spin-offs of their own funds, and you're just going to see more and more crypto asset managers emerge. I mean, even my old fund, Brevin Howard, they have Brevin Howard Digital, and that's become such a big part of their business, and you're just going to see that grow and grow, and it can't be avoided anymore when you see so much money going in through the ETF space, through all the different structured products and synthetic products that are coming through to the market. It's just something where the more that grows and compounds and increases, it's going to be more powerful. And I think what you will see, though, I think you're going to see more ETFs offering a yield. I know we start seeing one or two here and there happen, but it's not really taken off yet, and I don't think they've really got it right. But I think what you are going to see, there'll be a need for an ETF to be more yield bearing. Otherwise, I mean, for me, I'd still rather buy the underlying than buy an ETF. Maybe funds think differently for ease of transaction, but I think there has to be more added value to some of the synthetic products being offered in the market.
And with increasing institutional interest in Bitcoin, what regulatory or market developments are you most excited or concerned about?
From the institutional side or generally on the Bitcoin side?
From the institutional and Bitcoin side, both sides.
The most thing I'm more excited about is seeing digital credit. I think it's going to be the future. I agree with everything that you see strategies say, and I think that's going to be the future. I really do, and I think you're going to see more companies adopt that. And I don't think it will necessarily just be the treasury companies. I think you'll see more companies understand that if you're holding such an incredible asset, let's capitalize on it and make it grow. You're just going to see banks. I think you're going to see banks offer it too down the line, which is only going to be a good thing. There'll be more competition, but it means it's more adoption, more credibility, more choice for investors. I think digital credit is going to be the future, actually. And the more Bitcoin goes, it's already a $1.3 trillion asset, and it's what, at $60,000, $64,000, $65,000. When this thing really motors, this is going to be the largest asset in the world. So having a suite of digital products based around that, I think is going to be one of the most powerful things and transformational things in our financial ecosystem that we've seen in decades.
Yes, and as someone with deep experience in TradFi and crypto, what's one big misconception that people still have about Bitcoin treasuries or hedge fund advisory?
I think on the Bitcoin treasuries, I think the big conception, and see this all the time because everything is a fad in people. There's an extent of truth to it. Middle of last year, you couldn't get enough of the Bitcoin treasury companies, and everyone wanted to speak to them and have them on their shows and speaking on the conferences, etc., and be involved. And the share prices were trading at 40 times NAV, MNAVs. And now all of a sudden you go in there, oh no, I don't want to talk, oh, don't say the word that or treasury to me. And that's how fickle the market can be. So I think the misconception is they make, which is, potentially a fair assessment of some of them, but they don't add much value. They're not making enough money. They don't make money. They're just there to buy Bitcoin and dilute shareholders. Well, I think a lot of them have evolved, and I think a lot of the companies have understood that you have to be able to have more to your strings to your bow to grow and adapt and be able to withstand different types of markets. And my view in the conception is a lot of these are very, very good companies. Some are not. Some are still there. We understand that, but there are some very, very good companies out there with very smart management teams. And the more that we're still so early, other than strategy, which on the Bitcoin side, developed, changed their whole operation was 2020, 2021, when Michael Saylor started buying Bitcoin. Really, the others, other than Metaplan at 2023, 4, and then Capital B and Smarter Web, we're still so early. It's only 1-2 years into this. So understand that this is very early. You're going to see a lot of them go by the wayside, but you're also going to see the very good ones with very smart management teams grow and more start to come to the market, with some very, very sophisticated financial understanding of the markets and backgrounds.
And talking about more in general, Bitcoin last year reached all-time high. Since then, we had a 50% down from that price. How do you see the Bitcoin market and the Bitcoin ecosystem right now? Where are we heading?
Well, it's $1 million question, isn't it? I don't like making too many Bitcoin predictions because you can look very stupid, which I've seen a lot of people do over the last few months. And then, eventually they'll be right. A broken clock's right twice a day, as I like to say. I think where we are now, you could see the last 2-3 weeks, it seems to be withstanding negative news a lot better and reacting better to the positive news. As an example, it's been very tricky with the Iran war, on and off, on and off, on and off, ceasefire, not ceasefire, MOU, not MOU. And I think that's really kind of put a lot of markets hate uncertainty. So that's just put a lot of uncertainty into a very sensitive asset such as Bitcoin, because ultimately, war is bad. It's higher oil prices, higher inflation, less chance of rate cuts, more chance of rate hikes. Not good for Bitcoin, and that's been one of the biggest problems. The other thing, we've seen the shift of assets into tech, AI. You've seen the SpaceX IPO, and maybe there's been a rotation out of crypto and other risk-on assets into as an opportunity cost buying the tech stocks. That's probably stopped a little bit now as well. I think you're seeing money start to rotate out of that, and potentially, I think, coming back into Bitcoin and other assets have been underperformed over the last few months. I'd like to think this feels like a strong level. If I'm putting my hedge fund manager hat on, which isn't a good I don't feel good saying it. On the technical side, I think it looks slightly negative. I feel the charts look like they could break down. And if they do, we're going to be testing 50 and maybe 44, 46,000. I hope not. But again, we're prepared for that if it happens, and trying to buy more at a lower price. That's fine. We're not selling. We're looking to buy as much as we can over the next 10 years. But again, on the fundamental side, I think it's starting to be able to absorb more negative news than it was maybe a month ago. And you saw yesterday with the CPI number, which was slightly weaker, it had a good bounce up to 65,200, and it's drifted a bit now because we're at a big technical resistance level. 65, 66 is quite a hard level to just go back through. It started to consolidate around there, but we're stuck in this range. But if we can hold it and start to base and go up, then I think we're going to be heading back. If not, then I think I hate saying it, there could be a breakdown to the mid 40s, but let's see. As I say,
Why?
we long-term holders. For
Yes.
us, we want to buy as
Why
much
do
as
you
we
think?
can, whatever the levels.
Because I've been watching, I've been uh, interviewing many different persons from the on-chain analysts. I also do my. I think that 60 is. I think that is the bottom because we saw many bad news and didn't break. Last week it went. 2 weeks ago, sorry, was 57, but then recovered and went back over 60. Why do you think that can touch 50 and 40, mid 40s?
I'm just purely saying the technicals don't look great. That's all. In terms of the chart patterns, which has always been something I've looked at for my whole career. Do I think it should go there? No, I don't think it should. I don't think the fundamentals support it. I don't think the broader macro picture supports it. I actually think, if we can, I guess the biggest thing is uncertainty with what we're seeing. I don't like getting political, but what we're seeing with Iran and the US is probably the biggest uncertainty, and markets do not like uncertainty.
Totally, totally agree on that. I think that all that happened with all the things that happened to Bitcoin were because of uncertainty. And uncertainty can send Bitcoin down. And good news like yesterday that they were not so big good news because they were expecting, I think, 3.9 and CPI was 3.5, made a nice recovery in Bitcoin price. But as you said, for long-term holders, we don't care. And we need to be ready, even though these levels maybe never come, but we need to be ready that Bitcoin can go there and buy more, of course, without being this financial advice. It's all financial entertainment, and we are talking about suppositions. We never know what is going to happen in the future, but yeah, we need to be ready and prepared for that, for the worst. And what's next for Falcon Edge?
So continuing to get a yield on our Bitcoin, every month we want to keep knocking out those impressive figures that we've been doing so far since we IPO'd. Growing the advisory side, we have people that we're looking to get more funds to bring in more revenues into the business, and also, as I said earlier, working on distribution for the structured products that we're working on, and being able to get more Bitcoin on the balance sheet, because any Bitcoin we get on the balance sheet that we can get the yield on is just pure revenues and profits into the business, which is free Bitcoin per share for our shareholders. And then hopefully we see sentiment come back into the market, and we would, not saying when, where, we would like to, raise some capital at some point, increase the Bitcoin, even on a, there has to, some dilution can be good, but if that's your only way of raising capital, then you've got a problem.
Yes, totally agree. And talking about in general, what do you think about the future of treasury companies and the future of Bitcoin? The future, I'm talking about 5, 10 years or more, not next month.
So the future, I'm in the same camp as a lot of people. As you're not surprised, I'd say I think we're going to be. I'd like to think we'll be hitting new all-time highs at some point by the end of the year. Long term, I think will be as the availability and supply dries up, you're just going to see Bitcoin eventually go to over 1 million. That's why we want to accumulate as much as we can while getting a yield on whatever we have. And the future treasury companies, I think, is bright. I think if you can withstand the tough times like we're seeing now, then you will be much stronger because this is effectively the first negative cycle for most treasury companies bar strategy. So this will be when they've sat through it over the last few years. So if you can actually withstand the tough times like now, you're going to be in a much stronger position when we get through it and things start to recover. And then I think everyone will want to be involved in treasury companies again, and they'll be the in vogue thing, and they'll be the best things on the market. And that's what's going to happen. But
Yes,
again, I would say anyone that's looking to come into the space as a treasury company, have an understanding about why you're doing it, and have a business plan and really understand why you're different, rather than just wanting to come in just because Bitcoin's going up and you want to just suddenly become a Bitcoin treasury company.
Yeah, and I do agree with you when you say that we probably will see a new all-time high by the end of the year. I think the same. Probably we can see most of my friends, of Bitcoin friends that I have, say no, probably next year. But me, my business partner, and you, the only three person that I know that we think that we can reach an all-time high by the end of the year, I think would be great. And again, I think that of course the market is new, especially treasury companies. They are facing their first bear market. So, but they are working very good. They are creating a lot of new instruments that at the end of the day, they will take over the traditional finance and make Bitcoin even bigger.
I agree.
Totally agree
One
on
one
that.
more thing on the way Bitcoin moves. It's worth remembering. It's rarely an asset that just trends up. When it moves, it moves. So if you're not in it, you've missed it.
Yes, that's the
And this is why I say it can make all-time highs very quickly. We could be at 100,000 within a month, quite quickly. Less than that, it can take 2 weeks. The way Bitcoin can move. So while I can feel bad, that when it feels at its worst is usually the times when it can reverse. I've always found that in the markets, and now it's starting to feel everything feels bad, everything feels terrible. So that can be the time when you least expect it to move.
yeah,
It's when it does.
always happen. I remember that every time Bitcoin started growing fast was when people was not talking about Bitcoin, when Twitter was quiet and everyone was so pessimistic. And suddenly,
Yeah.
out of the sudden, Bitcoin
Yeah.
started growing fast and probably got 50% in 1 month. In a probably in 2 months, we are talking about 100K. And all the FUD that has been talked about in the last weeks probably will disappear.
Yeah.
And
I always
yeah,
have a very good indicator of when to sell Bitcoin. Not that selling of it, as when I was back in the day, or when I know Bitcoin's going to go down. I had a very good indicator. If I'm out to dinner at my mother-in-law's on a Friday night, and she says to me, she starts saying, "Should we buy some Bitcoin? Right? What should we do?" It's usually when it starts to sell. It's happened 3 times, every single time. And she did it when it was at 120,000. Did it when it was at 15,000 in 2000, when it was 15, 16, and every single time it's the indicator. And that's what happens when it comes mainstream. Now, should I buy it? Then you know it's going down, and vice
yes.
versa. Oh, I don't want to touch it. It's a pile of rubbish. It's going to zero.
Yes, in the Spanish world, we have some indicators. Some people, when they come and they start saying Bitcoin is going to zero, Bitcoin is going to zero, Bitcoin is going to zero, we can say that this is the bottom. So, and now many of them are appearing. So that's what another thing that I think that this is the bottom. And
Yeah.
the last question is, if you had the chance to sit down with Satoshi Nakamoto, what would you ask or say to him, to her, or to them?
Please, can I have some of your Bitcoin? You've already got a million. Just give me half. Just give me 10%.
10% would be 100,000 Bitcoin, so it would be
Give me
amazing.
1%. I don't know. Give me 1%. I'll be happy. I'd probably ask them what was your end goal when you created it? Where did you think it was going to be? What was your end goal 20 years after you created it? That would be my question. Is it what you expected? Did you expect it to go in the direction it's got? I'm not saying the actual price. I'm talking about the adoption and the the financialization of it and traditional finance and is this what you expected? That would be the thing I would most be interested to know.
Excellent. And of course, now not talking about Bitcoin, what are which result is going to be England against Argentina in few hours?
I think it will be 2-1 to England.
Okay.
Sorry. Not
It's
that I
okay.
think we're very good. I just think 2-1 to England after extra time. After extra time.
Oh, please, no, please. If you're gonna win 2-1, please do it in the 90 minutes. Otherwise, I will suffer a lot. But yeah, I hope it's a great game. And the last question, as you are a United fan, what do you prefer? England winning the World Cup or United coming back again to win the Champions League?
United to win the Champions League. It's not even close. Sorry. At least I'm honest.
Go United. Go United. Oh, I hope I can
Exactly.
go to.
Exactly.
I hope I remember when I was
We'll
telling
go
you.
to a game one day. We'll definitely go to a game.
I hope last year when I was during the Bitcoin Treasuries and Conference was the Champions League final, Arsenal against PSG. I hope in the future I can come back and watch the United win the Champions League again, because it's the best team in Europe, in England, and second to my team in Argentina.
We're on our way back. I can feel it. We're on our way back.
It's the biggest team of England.
Who's your Argentina team? Boca?
No way. No, my team
River
is
Plate.
A funny name. No, it's a team from third division. No, sorry, second division now. It's called Deportivo Morón. It's like if you see the name is Moron, like Moron, but it's from my city. We are in second division. We are second in second division, fighting to go back to first division. This is my team, and the second best team is United. For me, again, I don't like Spanish teams. I don't like Barcelona, Real Madrid. I only like Manchester United in the United Kingdom, in England. And I hope I need to come back to be at the top as it used to be. So, Roy, thank you very much for your time. Has been a pleasure to talk to you. Anything else you want to add, and how people can contact you?
Yeah, and if you want to contact me, I'm very active on X, at Roy Kashi FE. I'm on LinkedIn. Just Google me up. Just look me up on LinkedIn on my profile and our website, and I'm always available. Send me a DM. Happy to have a chat.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. I hope your prediction on England match is not good, but let's see how it goes. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot, and good luck tonight. Speak soon.
And thank you very much to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, follow our guest, because he gives his time to help us painting the world orange. Share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach the 8 billion people and give them the orange pill. See you in the next episode. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.